Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, the 23,000 mark has finally arrived on the Nifty. It did on Friday, although the Nifty could not close above that levels. In just 9 sessions, however, the Nifty has recovered about 1,200 points from its May 13 low of 21,821. Remember, the index has managed to end about 2.2% higher for the week, notching its fourth straight weekly gain in the last 5 weeks or so. Now, this new week will now see the monthly F&O expiry for the Nifty as well as for the Nifty Bank as well. Earning season largely concludes this week with many PSU names like LIC, NMDC, IRCTC will be reporting their results this week. Today's session will see stocks like United Spirits, NTPC, Hindustan Copper and Gokuldas Exports react to their earnings, which were reported after Friday's market hours, and stocks like DCM Shriram, Electronic Smart, GMDC, Natco Pharma will be reporting their earnings today. Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We begin the last week of May's fabulous expiry today. Sakshi has given you one very critical information that over the last many weeks the Nifty is ending in the positive and the last 9 days have been spectacular. You've seen and tasted 23,000 on the index. Now let us begin this discussion with the daily chart that you see in front of you. Absolutely no doubt there, 2.2% rally all of last week, and it was one of the most fantastic 5-day sessions that the Nifty has experienced. A very strong bout of short covering led by foreign institutional investors on weekly expiry day last Thursday ignited fresh passion into the index. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll request the PCI to file the weekly chart of the Nifty. There is an important development that I would like to share. Not only is this week buffeted by the last monthly expiry of May, we are also in the last week of elections, national elections, and on Saturday you will be having the last bout of the 7th round of election voting, as also the exit poll. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot begin to emphasize how important this week is, and let me share some critical data. This weekly chart of the Nifty shows you a mild thumb uptick that has happened that points to a record high. Now let's go back in time, and in the month of May in 2019, in the last week ahead of exit polls, let us see how the Nifty had performed. Remember, the Nifty was sub 12,000 then, and it is now above 23,000 as far as index is concerned. So it's already more than doubled. So in the last week of May ahead of the exit polls, the Nifty had jumped 3.83% or 483 points to 11,844. The reason why I emphasize this is because it's most likely that this week we will also see a blowout performance of the Nifty. In 2014, ladies and gentlemen, when Mr. Narendra Modi took charge of the country as the Prime Minister, the index in the last week of May ahead of the exit polls had actually jumped 2.45% or 164 points to 7,367. So from 7,300 we are now at 24,000 in a span of 10 years, and from 11,844, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 23,000 as far as the index is concerned, the main Nifty, in a span of 5 years. Keep this in mind that the Nifty has already rallied sharply last week, 2.2%, in the month of May, 1.3%. So these are levels to be a bit cautious of, and that's the most important point I raise. As far as purchases are concerned, ladies and gentlemen, at least I will not be suggesting any now. Remember, from 1st of December, we've been extremely bullish on the market, and we've reaped very rich dividends, about 7% on the Nifty alone. Now let us see what today will bring. Overseas cues are absolutely flat. There's nothing coming in from Wall Street. Gift Nifty is pointing to a muted start. We've already rallied very sharply in May, more importantly last week, so you need to be very careful. A lot of sensible investors and traders that I talk to are now converting a lot of their book profit, which is profit in the books to cash, which means that for the last week they will be mostly moving all their profit to cash as the markets keep on rising. Almost 23,200 is a given on the Nifty. So those opportunities will be used to book profit rather than to get into fresh trades. Apart from the closing of the monthly expiry, you will also have 30th May, which is again the closing day, in which a lot of NAV action will be seen. So this week is likely to be named, as far as bulls are concerned, their last hurrah. Of course, much will depend on how the exit polls point out, but this is a week where caution is advised in extreme quantities and you need to be really careful. What's really more important, FII net shorts are down dramatically. Remember, last Wednesday they were at 2.19 lakh short positions on the index. They reduced dramatically on Thursday. On Friday, again, there was a lot of short covering by foreign institutions, and now only 15,900 net short contacts on the Nifty are in place, which essentially shows that FIIs have turned extremely cautious. Their bearish stance has been reduced dramatically. That's very helpful to the bulls. Now, what should you be doing? If the market and the Nifty give you an opportunity towards 22,800, please accept it with open hands, buy this dip and get back into the markets. There is intense amount of short covering that's happening in ITM calls of the Nifty, so the downside is protected. There is a huge resistance at 23,100, 23,200 and 300 on the Nifty options chain, so one has to be very careful if you see a small spike coming in. Now pay attention to the Bank Nifty, and that is the reason why this week will be most critical to the Bank Nifty. I am requesting the PCR to show the chart of HDFC Bank. Remember, this is the heaviest weighted counter on the Nifty and the Nifty Bank. It has done nothing except for the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday. Sakshi, if you look at Nifty, HDFC Bank's performance all of last year and this week, in particular the month of May, it has dramatically underperformed the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. There are lots of signs as far as HDFC Bank is concerned that the worst may be over, at least for the short term, and this is one stock, and Bank Nifty, the other index, which is still 1,000 points below its all-time high, where you will see the maximum action. My own understanding is that we will see a record high on the Bank Nifty this week. It's primarily driven by the fantastic dividend, 2.1 lakh crores that the Reserve Bank of India paid to the government of India, and that has catalyzed the banking sector. What else is in focus? Sakshi will give you all the earnings detail of the numbers that came in post Friday and before market started today, but the major ones are NTPC and Divi's Lab on the Nifty. Remember, NTPC has appreciated 118% over the last 1 year. It's India's biggest thermal power giant, and it's doing fantastically well at record highs of about 370, 380. Divi's Lab, the commentary has been fantastic. Earnings were super good. You need to look at this stock, which has reported a fourth quarter rise in profit of about 68%. Again, Aurobindo Pharma, Torrent Pharma. These are two mid-cap pharma companies that have come up with stunning set of numbers. Sakshi will give you the details. And lastly, we are looking at earnings today from National Aluminium, NMDC and LIC India. NMDC and NALCO are already at record highs. LIC is consolidating at 1,000 rupees. You need to look at these numbers as well. And finally, a bit of good news. FTSE All World Index additions include the newly listed IREDA, Tata Technologies and JSW Infra. So that is it from my side. Look at Bank Nifty and HDFC Bank. If you see a dip on the Nifty towards 22,800, that has to be purchased. This week is going to be a blowout for the Nifty, but caution is advised in large buckets. Sakshi.
All right, let's also focus on the kind of cues we are getting from across the world. So US stocks rebounded on Friday from sharp losses on the day before on the news of an improving consumer outlook on inflation. sending the Nasdaq to fifth straight week of gains and a record closing high as well. Now, the Nasdaq ended higher by about 1.1% at 16,920. The S&P 500 gained about 0.7% at trade and ended at 5304. The Dow Jones was just flattish and eked out just moderate gains in the trading session. Remember, US markets are closed for today for the Memorial Day holiday. So it has an extended week and we will not get the cues for tomorrow's trading session. And as far as markets are concerned, the shares edged higher in the early morning trading session today as investors braced for a very busy week of data, which culminates in a key US inflation report that could set a stage for the cut in interest rates going forward from here. Across the board, there is a green screen that you can see. Hang Seng is showing the sharpest move on the upside, about 0.6% higher, Kospi about 0.4%. Nikkei 225 is up by 0.3% and the Shanghai index is up by about 0.2% up in trade as well. Now, as far as the gift Nifty trends are indicating, they're indicating a positive start of about 37 odd points in the green and at about 23,057 odd levels. So we could be looking at those levels coming in as far as the opening levels are concerned. Now, as far as the foreign institutional data is concerned, remember the FIs continue to remain net sellers in the cash market on Friday. They've pulled out about 22,000 odd crore rupees this entire month so far. On Friday, they sold about 944.8 crore rupees worth of stocks, while the DIs continued to remain net buyers as well. On Friday, we did see them pouring money of about 2,320 odd crore rupees. This was the fourth straight session when they mopped up equities in the Indian markets as well. Now, as far as the earnings go, after the market hours on Friday, we did see Cochin Shipyard reporting its numbers. Its consolidated year-on-year numbers showed a revenue uptick of 114% at 1286 odd crore rupees versus 600 odd crore rupees earlier. EBITDA came in at 288 crore rupees versus an EBITDA loss of 67 odd crore rupees. Again, a sharp improvement. Margins came in at 22.5% and the net profit at a sharp uptick of 564 odd percent at 259 crores versus 39 odd crore rupees. Remember, the stock has already been showing a sharp uptick in the run up to its earnings as well. NTPC on a Q4 FY24 consolidated YOY numbers basis, revenues up 7.6% at 47,622 crores. Margins up to 81 basis points at 29.8% versus 27%. Net profit up 33.2% at 6,490 odd crore rupees. Torrent Pharma in Q4 on a consolidated Q-on-Q basis showed up a revenue uptick of 10.2% at 2,745 odd crores. Net profit jumped 56.4% at 449 odd crores and the margins came in at 32.2% versus 29.2%. United Spirits on a Q4 FY24 consolidated YOY basis showed a revenue improvement of 11.2% at 2,783 crores. Margins came in at 12% versus 9.4%, so an uptick there too. And the net profit sharply improved higher by 136 odd percent at 246 odd crore rupees. Narayana Hrudayalaya also reported its numbers on a YOY consolidated basis for Q4. Revenues came in higher by almost 5% at 1279 odd crore rupees. EBITDA improved by 6.8% at 295 crores. Margins came in at 23% versus 22.6%, so an improvement there. And the net profit also jumped by about 10.1% at 191 crores. There's also a fundraise that the company has talked about 1200 odd crore rupees via debt. Now, Hindustan Copper in Q4 FY24 consolidated Q-on-Q numbers show revenue uptick of just 1% at 565 odd crore rupees. EBITDA improved, however, by 21.6% at 226 crores. Margins came in at 40% versus 33.2%, and the net profit, however, was down by 6% at 124 odd crore rupees. Bosch reported its Q4 numbers as well. On a consolidated YOY basis, we saw that the revenue came in higher by 4.2% at 4,233 crores. The EBITDA improved by 6.7% at 557 crores, and the margins came in at 13.2% versus 12.9%. Profit improved by 41.7% at 564 odd crore rupees. Kolte Patil Developers of Q4 FY24 consolidated YOY numbers show that the revenue came in lower by about 34% at 526 crores. Net loss for the company came in at 26 crores versus versus a profit of 121 odd crore rupees as well. Divis Laboratories, here the revenue improved by 18% year on year at 2,303 crores. The profit after tax improved by a sharp 68% on a YOY basis at 538 crores. Remember, the margins also came in higher at 31.7% versus 25% on a year-on-year basis. So those are the earnings-based stocks that I'm keeping an eye out on, Shail.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get in conversation. Mr. Amar Singh, Senior Vice President for Research at Angel One Stockbroking. Good morning to you, Amar, and what a fantastic setup the market has shown. A very sharp rally all of last week, and we are here in the last week of what is going to be a spectacular show as far as exit polls are concerned, and maybe the markets too. How do you see sentiment on Dalal Street, and how are you advising your clients to utilize these 5 days ahead of the exit polls?
Yeah, very good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. So, markets definitely seem to have taken cues with regard to the elections, the voting that has happened over the last, I would say, 6 phases. We've got the last phase pending. So markets are, I would say, to a certain extent confident that the same government is likely to continue unless we see some surprise, excuse me, some major surprise coming up. But having said that, what we see is that most of the heavyweights, we've seen some positive movement there. Even HDFC Bank have been talking about that. It seems to have formed a base and it's moving up. It has got the highest weightage, amongst the highest weightage in Nifty. And Reliance also is holding up well. We've seen some Adani stocks also move up significantly. We've seen some good movement in the banking stocks as well, ICICI, Axis, SBI. So all these are definitely helping the indices. And also what we need to remember is that when markets are trading at record highs, also we've seen that post October of 2022, we witnessed the highest level in India VIX. So that tells me that, and that's a natural phenomena because just ahead of elections, you see a lot of concerns with regard to investors as to what exactly is the outcome likely to be. So having said that, I would say overall the structure of the market remains positive, but yes, there are some, I would say, concerns with regard to valuation in many stocks, wherein would it be a good price or good entry point at the current levels, or should one wait for correction? But then again, that's a very tough call to make, because if you look at some of the defense stocks, they have been rallying like anything. They've been defying the laws of gravity like anything, and the stocks have really given very decent returns. I would say fabulous returns to those who had the courage to step in. So we are seeing a broad-based rally. Even the mid caps have moved up significantly, and some of the mid caps have performed exceedingly well, and large caps to a certain extent are definitely seem to be holding, and investors are gravitating towards the mid caps and the large caps, what we can say.
How would you react to earnings of Cochin Shipyard?
So if you look at Cochin Shipyard, what we see is that these stocks have been on a tear, I would say. Because if you look at the returns, the Cochin Shipyard returns for this year itself is almost 2x. So it's almost up by 182%. If you look on the weekly basis, the stock is up significantly, and it's up by almost 30%. So having said that, I would say the stock did consolidate. We witnessed that the stock was unable earlier to breach the 1300, 1350, 1360 zone. That being taken out, the stock is up by almost 40% from those levels, and that also within a very short span of time. So it's so that tells me that there is definite interest in this stock, and also what we are witnessing is that the volumes have been significant. As far as the last few trading sessions, I would say 5 to 6 trading sessions. But entry again at the current levels, I wouldn't recommend. Those who are long, they can look at booking part profit, because some of the indicators do point towards overheated market. But it's in a no man's, I would say, in an uncharted territory, to rather put it well. And the trend is very strong, because I've been talking about many of the stocks and defense stocks. I've always been saying that you should look at buying these stocks, but don't try to rush into it, because sometimes you try to catch at the top and you find that you are the one who's buying at the top. So some correction is definitely a good way to look into the stock. The stock has got very strong support now coming around the 1400, 1500 zone. Upside, the stock is headed higher towards its psychological levels of 2000.
Okay. Amar, very warm good morning to you. I want to ask you on the power related stocks, NTPC and Power Grid, which have outperformed in the markets, both reported their earnings, and now we've seen brokerage houses reports on them. So Morgan Stanley has given an overweight call on NTPC with a target price of 390. Although they said that the company has missed the estimates due to the fixed costs under recoveries, but the consolidated PAT was missed, driven by lower profit contributions. The company, however, has a strong renewable energy portfolio, and there is a possibility of the renewable energy IPO in October-November 2024. So how would you see this upcoming possibility as a trigger for re-rating on the stock at all? And post the earnings, what would you do on NTPC? And then I'll give you the Power Grid brokerage report and ask your view as well.
Yeah, so looking at NTPC, we are a nation which is, I would say, really growing among the fastest, and also the power consumption what we are seeing, that's likely to increase. And most of these power companies, provided they manage, because power is a very capital intensive business. So how the company is able to manage its debt, how the company is able to manage the inputs, because the raw material inputs, the cost of I would say coal, the cost of other inputs, they play a very significant role. It's just like the airlines industry, wherein you have the fuel accounting for almost 70% of the total cost. So likewise, input cost plays a very important role. But the companies, if they are able to manage their, I would say, finances well, they have a very, I would say, bright future. Talking about NTPC, if you look at NTPC, again, this stock has been a multi-bagger. And over the last couple of years, from almost 150, it's currently around 75 odd levels. If you ask me, at the current levels, there could be some consolidation, because the stock had made a recent high of almost 380, 85 levels. From there, it did correct, but that was marginal correction. Again, the stock is up towards 375. So not at the current levels where one should look at a buying opportunity, but yes, on any correction, on any dip, this is a stock one can definitely look at having in one's portfolio.
Okay, and what about Power Grid? CLSA has an outperform call with a target price of 345. They believe the FY24 financial year has turned out to be a year of market share gains for the company. Capex definitely beat estimates over here. Although PAT is up 4% year on year, led by dividend from subsidiaries. Going forward from here, what is your outlook on Power Grid?
See, again, if you ask me about Power Grid, the overall structure of the stock remains positive, if you ask me, but there's some sort of bearish divergence on the weekly charts. And also, the stock is currently trading around 320 odd levels. So there could be some upside selling pressure in the stock, which I see. So if the stock is able to manage and sustain above the 325, 330 level, then we could witness some upside move. Otherwise, the stock could go in for consolidation. And on the downside, the stock has got good support coming on the 290, 300 level. So that's a range to watch out. So ideally, one would want to look at an entry around the 290, 300 levels. But upside seems to be capped around 330.
Okay. We'll be shortly joined by Mr. Aditya Agarwal, Head for Derivatives and Technical Research at Sanctum Wealth. Meanwhile, Amar, how would you choose between these stocks, three stocks, newly minted ones, Ireda, Tata Tech and JSW Infra? This is the ports manager. All three of them will now be a part of the FTSE All World Index. Any favorites here?
So the third one you mentioned was JSW Infra.
Infra.
Okay, fair. So I'll start with JSW Infra. See, overall, if you look at this stock, the stock has performed well over the last, I would say, a few months. But currently, at the current levels, I would say you need to be slightly cautious in this stock. The other stock which you mentioned, Indian Renewal, this is one stock one can definitely, Irida, one can look at from a long-term perspective. So currently, it's around 180, 85 levels. Again, this falls in the infrastructure and in the energy sector. So, but you have to understand one thing is that many of these stocks or companies, I would rather put it, they are how they manage their finances, because we've seen the likes of Suzlon and many of the companies who really not been able to manage, and then they witness a dramatic correction. So you have to be careful. One needs to be careful and keep close watch on the debt equity ratio, how the companies are managing their finances. And having said that, the future definitely looks bright for the companies operating in the power sector. So this is one stock not at the current levels, but yes, on any correction, this is a buying opportunity.
Okay. Aditya Agarwal, Head of Derivatives and Technical Research at Sanctum Wealth, joins us. Good morning to you, Aditya. Where do you see the sun shining brightly on a couple of stocks as far as charts are concerned on this fine Monday morning?
Morning, Shalin. Well, overall structure for markets looks definitely positive. The way means we have seen Nifty and Bank Nifty has given a breakout. Means it looks like that Bank Nifty is also moving towards its previous all-time highs, which is almost 50,000 levels. So we are positioned couple of banking counters. IndusInd Bank will be our top pick. I mean, this stock was trading in a range for last couple of weeks. Now, in last two trading sessions, that is Thursday and Friday, we have seen some good buying interest in IndusInd Bank. I'm expecting that this stock may move towards 1520, 1550 levels in next few trading sessions. So this stock can be bought at current levels with a stop loss of 1420. Among auto pack, two-wheelers, auto pack, TVS Motors is one stock which has seen a good move in last few days. Means we saw some correction in this stock in early May, but after that, last a few days, we have seen a good buying interest. So TVS Motors also can be bought at current levels with a target of 2420, 2450. Stop loss will be placed somewhere around 2190.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pre-open rates with us. It's a blowout, like I had mentioned. Of course, this is not going to sustain. The Nifty is open 277 points, 300 points higher at 23,250. How I so wish this were going to be true, but we'll see sensible pricing fairly shortly. I'm only concerned with what HDFC Bank is going to do today. It's opened 18 rupees higher, 1535. How about Reliance? 19 rupees higher at 29.79. And how about Infosys? 9 rupees higher at 14.74. All 10 index heavyweights are in the green except for Kotak Bank, which is 9 rupees lower at 16.90. Let's look at some other prices within the F&O space. One of the most crucial stocks to look forward to as far as gainers are concerned will be earnings boys. Divi's Lab, ladies and gentlemen, taking it away 7% higher, 45.24. It announced a 68% rise in profit after tax for the fourth quarter, and the con call was really stunning. Cochin Shipyard flat at the moment 1912. Remember, it had run up very sharply. Torrent Pharma, another earnings boy, it had announced a 57% rise in fourth quarter profit, 2873, 10% higher. Adani Ports will be a part of the Sensex from June 24th onwards. Therefore, the counter is 4.5% higher at 1480. Let's also look at some other prices within the F&O space, which are okay. These three we mentioned. Hindalco just announced a 6,000 crore rupee expansion, 2.5% higher, 690. Earnings boy NTPC 2.5% higher, 383. The Nifty is now a sensible 130 points higher, 23,075. This will again, ladies and gentlemen, settle down towards the lower side. Amongst the most active counters, you have Petronet LNG for some reason quoting 8% lower, 280. Mild bout of negativity on HPCL, 1.5% lower, 535. Nothing much of interest as far as prices are concerned. We'll again shift to NSE 500. Okay, profit booking in Schneider 5% lower, 827. There is Ease My Trip 2.3% lower, 4280. This is also earnings boy. Aurobindo Pharma is also an earnings boy, reacting 2% lower at 1208. Sakshi, what are you watching?
I think I saw Cochin Shipyard about 9.7% higher, Shell. So let's look at that one again after the earnings, because the earnings were definitely very strong. No, it's at 1915. So I don't know. I mean, like my software just got a 10% uptake right there. So we'll just see how the markets really react to this one. The other ones that I'm watching out for is definitely Divis Laboratories, that's up 10%. Also Astra Micro, that's up 6% after the earnings. So again, strong earnings are reacting positively on this one. And of course, IRFC, that's another one that's up by 2 odd percent. I wanted to see even RVNL because that's again a lowest bidder for one more order that has come in for the construction project worth 187 odd crore rupees from MMRCL. So again about a 1.2% uptick for that one as well. SBI is just opening about 0.7%. Remember, we've been tracking this all over last week for record moves on SBI. So we'll continue to track this one. Canara Bank is up by 0.7% within the PSU pack as well. Those are some of the stocks that I just tracked in the early morning session. But let's get Aditya into the conversation. Aditya, apart from the banking counter IndusInd Bank that you talked about, are you looking at these PSU bank names like SBI or a Canara Bank?
Yeah, I mean, definitely means if we see SBI stock made an all-time high in Friday's trading session, close minor negative, but overall structure-wise, if we see in the whole PSU banks, SBI is the strongest counter. Means I'm expecting that it may move towards 855, 860 in very near term. Any dip in this counter, if it corrects, if it's a see some profit booking comes in the range of 825, 820, that should be used as a buying opportunity. We can easily see some 5 to 6% upside in the short term. And if we see longer term horizon, then we are expecting that it may cross 900 plus levels also.
Okay. The other one that I'm watching out for is Adani Ports. Remember, it has now replaced Wipro to enter into Sensex. The stock is reacting positively in the pre-opening trade, about 4.5% higher. Let's get Amar into the conversation. Amar, how are you looking at this Adani stock? 3% higher at 1460 now. You did mention that some of these stocks have had a good run up in the last week. Will Adani Ports continue to be a choice of the stock from this basket of stocks?
If you look at Adani stocks, they have had I would say roller coaster ride, and again they are back with a bang. So if you look at Adani Ports, particularly the stock is up by almost 38% year till date, and the trend for the stock on the long term is definitely positive. But short term, we could witness some sort of profit booking happening at the current level. So I would say rather wait it out. The volumes though have been exceptionally good. But till the time the stock doesn't sustain above the 1450 levels consistently, I would say we could witness some profit booking. But the trend, long-term trend remains very strong for the stock. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, let's focus on some more prices now that markets have settled sensibly. It's still 92 points higher on the Nifty, 23,048. As far as sentiment is concerned, this is a wonderful opening. Remember, the moment you capture 23,000 in the favor of bulls, then another bout of short covering begins on the Nifty by foreign institutional investors. But the fact is, practicalities rule more importantly rather than sentiment. Therefore, this will settle a bit lower as well. India Bulls Housing Finance 4% higher, 170-190. This is a super high beta stock. They've purchased some projects from the Embassy Group, so you need to keep that in mind. Strong show is going to come into stocks such as Torrent Pharmaceuticals. Again, this is earnings led. We've discussed it. Sakshi, I think it's going to be a pharma day. You have Natco Pharma buzzing 3% higher, 1051. You have I want to see what Biocon is doing. Remember, it was in thick trade all of Friday. Let's see Biocon at the moment. I don't see the price so far. Biocon is flat at 318.95. But a nice green tick across the pharma universe. We've discussed Torrent, Divis, Natco. Mankind Pharma is 1.7% higher, 2096. Abbott India, Lupin, JB Pharma Chemicals, all moving in the green. Amar, this question is to you. Now that most of the fourth quarter earnings are in the bag. Very strong show by a lot of nifty companies. Any favorites here apart from the pharma that will outperform today?
So looking at the pharma space, I would say pharma has definitely performed exceedingly well. I would say Aurobindo Pharma is one stock one can definitely keep a close watch on. The stock seems to have formed a very strong base, and it's moving up. So that's one stock one can definitely keep on. The other stock is Biocon. We've seen the stock really being an underperformer and the stock actually being a wealth destroyer to a certain extent. But what we are seeing over the past, I would say 6 to 8 months, as the stock has moved up significantly from almost 200 levels. It's up almost 50% or so. And the stock has a potential for further rally, but for that it needs to sustain its recent high. So recent high was around 330 odd levels. So sustaining over the 325, 330 level, the stock has a potential to rally significantly. We could witness a 15-20% rally from there. So that's one stock one can look at. The other stock to look at, I would say, is Divi's Laboratories, so again from the pharma space. So these are a couple of stocks which are really looking very good on the charts also, and from a standpoint from the industry perspective also. So the second stock, or the third stock is Divi's Laboratories. One can keep a close watch on.
Fair point. And getting Aditya into the conversation, your favorite PSU stock for this week, Aditya, where do you think that the heat will be continuous on the upside for the next 5 trading sessions?
Well, I think we will continue to see buying interest in couple of railway stocks. RVNL, last week also we discussed RVNL when it was somewhere around 290, 295 levels. It has already seen a big rally. But we still maintain our bullish stance on the counter. I'm expecting it may move towards 420, 425 in next few trading sessions. So that can be one of the stocks which can be bought on any decline. In banking space, we are looking some buying interest in Canara Bank and PSU Bank and Bank of Baroda. Both these stocks can be bought at current levels. In Bank of Baroda, I'm expecting target of some 285, 290. So we can see some 8 to 10% upside in Canara Bank. And similarly in Canara, in Bank of Baroda, in Canara Bank, I'm expecting target of some 125, 126 odd level. So we can see some good move in both these banking counters also.
Okay, Aditya, the other space that could be in the limelight today is the metals pack. Hindalco, Tata Steel, they again look to be opening up into the positive, and even the Nifty metals index again. How are you positioned here? Any favorite stocks that you could highlight?
Well, Hindalco among the pack looks most promising. Means if we see Hindalco up, means in last 2 trading session, 2-3 trading sessions, some profit booking was seen from higher levels, but structure-wise stock is positive. 660 remains a very important support level for Hindalco. With a stop loss of 660 at current levels, also its long positions can be initiated. On higher side, I'm expecting 740, 745 will be the short-term target. So Hindalco can be bought. Another stock, Tata Steel also, means if we see it is in one-way bull market. We are continuously seeing buying interest in Tata Steel on any decline. At current levels, around 174, 175 long positions can be initiated with a target of 185 to 186.
Okay, so that's as far as the metal pack is concerned. Let me get Amar into the conversation. As far as the real estate play is concerned, we've actually seen an outperformance come through and through. How are you looking at this entire space? Especially, there are 2 stocks within news. One is Macrotech Developers. It's acquired the remaining 50% stake in Siddhivinayak Realty arm at 415 odd crore rupees. And Kolte Patil came out with the earnings. Here they had reported a net loss. Now this has been an outperformer in the space as well. But the earnings have not really, kept up with the kind of expectations that there are. Real estate space, how do you see the move?
Yeah, I would say real estate space definitely has had a dream run because, and there we are seeing that a significant chunk of sales is coming from the luxury and the high end, I would say, space, and that is there to stay. So that's definitely helped the likes of DLF, the likes of Brigade. And also, if you look at some of the other stocks in the real estate like Godrej Properties, again, that's been very positive. But we are seeing some sort of profit booking now there post the sharp rally in most of the real estate stocks. That is clearly there. One exception is overall reality. This is one stock which continues to remain very strong, very firm. And overall, the stock seems to be doing quite good on the on the financials as well. So this is one stock one can look at. Talking about the two specific stocks which you mentioned, the first one is Lodha. So Macrotech. So Lodha, I would say, is more or less again very strong on the long-term charts, but we are seeing some sort of consolidation happening there on the intermediate term trend. So that tells me that we could witness some sort of consolidation, but the long-term trend still remains positive. And the second stock which you mentioned, Colte Patil, this is one stock which you can actually stay away from because it's not going anywhere, at least in a hurry. So you could see a range play in the stock between 450 and 550.
Okay, one stock that warrants our attention again is Cochin Shipyard. As the market settled in the pre-opening trade, the stock is indicating in the pre-opening levels that it may open above 2100 levels at a 9.8% uptick. Again, the record moves continue for this one as well. Remember, Gaurang Shah last week had come twice back to back with us on our request to again share his bullish view, and we will again try and get him again today so that you can see his conviction on the stock. He said 2300, 2400 may be coming in. You're already at 2100 after that stunning move of last week again, Shail.
So, Sakshi, good news again, and I hope Gaurang picks up his call. We are waiting for him to rejoin us. The Nifty settled 81 points higher, 23,038. A very quick one from you, Aditya. Would you step into Cochin 10% higher?
Means clearly means stock has seen a sharp move. After today's 10% gap up, fresh entry is not advisable. Yes, if someone is holding, they can continue to hold with a target of 2250, 2300, but not a fresh entry at these levels.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, what a perfect advice coming in. Let's start the week on a very, very strong note. 70 points higher on the Nifty, 23,028. Remember, my focus will be on Bank Nifty this week. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind you'll see a record high there as well. 121 points higher, 49,100. The Nifty IT flat, but Nifty 500 begins with a bang. 0.5% higher, 21,575. Okay, let's shift focus to what Cochin Shipyard is doing, ladies and gentlemen. 8% higher, 2,073. This is going to be an earnings day. Let's focus on the top gainers as far as the Nifty is concerned. Okay, Torrent Pharma 4.5% higher, 2738. We have strong moves as far as prices are concerned on Bosch. Again, earnings led, 2.9% higher, 31,725. Adani Ports is moving into the Sensex from June 24th. Build up happening there, 2.6% higher. Earnings boy Divi's Lab 2.5% higher, 4238. Earnings boy United Spirits 1.6% higher, 1198. Hind Copper 1.7% higher, 377. Let's look at how defense is structured. Astra Micro again earnings boy 6% higher, 849. Bharat Dynamics fresh high, 4.7% higher, 1594. BEL, GRSE and Mazgaon in the green. Mazgaon is 6% higher, 3372. Fresh record highs within the Nifty, within the FNO are BEL, earnings boy NTPC 1% higher. Tata Steel is what Amar had pointed out, 1% higher. Bharti Airtel, Bharat Forge and of course Torrent Pharma. So ladies and gentlemen, a very strong opening, or as far as markets are concerned. We tracked 19 indices for you. Ladies and gentlemen, all 19 are in the green. It's hopefully going to be a very, very strong view. Led by the Nifty Realty Index, 1% higher. The small cap index is the top gainer again, 1% higher, 17,039. The advanced decline is aggressively in favor of bulls. 1456 shares in the green, just 461 in the red. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get Aditya into the conversation immediately. Aditya, what catches your fancy in the first 4 or 5 minutes of trade where you'll punch in a buy?
Well, means Divi's Lab can be a good buy. Means it is right now 3% up, currently around 42.78, 42.80 levels. So this can be bought at current levels. It will be slightly a positional call. I'm expecting it may move towards 45.90, 46.50 levels. So at current levels also means this stock can be bought with a stop loss of 4100 and target of 4600.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that we'd like to look at? Of course, REC, PFC moving up very sharply. HDFC Bank, ladies and gentlemen, 1528. A quick one from you, Aditya, on HDFC Bank. This is now above 200 DMA. This is powering the Bank Nifty. What would you do?
Well, definitely a buy. Means it's a good structure, good consolidation, and now we are seeing a good positive traction in this counter. It will find some resistance in the zone of 1555, 1560 level. Once that level is taken out, this stock is easily moving towards 1650 to 1660 levels. So I think with Bank Nifty has to make a new high. This time HDFC Bank will be the top participant or top contributor, which can take it towards new high. So I am expecting a good move in HDFC Bank from these levels. Easily it can move towards 1650 to 1660 odd levels.
Okay. Let's also keep in sight India VIX, that is moving up sharply, 5.3% higher, 22.8 odd levels. Aditya, do you see heightened volatility this entire week, considering it's the last week before we get the election results?
Well, yes, definitely. Means volatility will be high. Probably in more in second half of the week, when we will see some profit booking ahead of the exit polls, which is on Saturday. So we may see some profit booking on Thursday and Friday, and because of that, we may see some volatility increase. And also, this is a monthly expiry for all the indices, so that will also add to the volatility. So I'm expecting that VIX may inch up towards 2830 before the election results are out. So yes, definitely volatility will increase in this week.
Okay. The other space, Amar, I wanted to discuss with you is the entire railway pack again that is buzzing in trade today. RVNL, IRCTC, Ircon International, Titagarh Rail, all about 1.5%, 2% higher in trade in the early trading action alone. The momentum continues on. Rail Vikas is now up 6.6% at the day's high already within few minutes of trade. How are you looking at these stocks?
I would say the railway stocks have also been performing exceedingly well, and we are seeing that most of them continue to display the strong momentum. So that's one thing what we've observed is that many of the stocks have had some consolidation, because if a stock is rallying and there isn't consolidation, then there is some cause of concern. But again, consolidation happening, and then we are seeing in, for example, RBNL. The stock moved up, and then there was significant volumes on 21st of May. That was, I would say, amongst the highest in the last maybe 50 or 100 trading sessions. And then the stock has rallied again 10-15% from those levels. So that tells me that overall the trend remains very strong. This is all, again, most of the stocks are trading in uncharted territory. So, but the trend remaining strong, so you should be on the long side, or if you're long, then you can hold on to your positions with definitely a trailing stop, because you have to be prepared for volatility in this week and sometime early next week.
Okay, let me bring up Bosch for all our viewers. Remember, this is one stock that we have been discussing through and through over last few months. There's a digit chain here, Shail. 32,000 now on Bosch. Remember, we were discussing this stock, I think at least, when we were, I think about 30,000 odd is when we had started to discuss. I had brought out one anecdote for all our viewers to understand that this is the only market that Bosch is really listed in. And right now we see a strong move on this one. 31,830 right now, but I also saw 31,999 and 32,000 also on the stock too. Right, Amar, can you share your views?
Yeah,
And
so so looking at Bosch, what we are seeing is that again this stock on a year till date is up by almost 43% on the long term charts. It continues to be very strong, but on the intermediate and the short term charts, we are seeing some sort of profit booking happening, and some of the technical indicators definitely they point towards overheating in the market. So I would say rather look at booking profits rather than getting into the stock at the current levels.
Okay, got that. And I think this other space.
Let's get
yes,
focused
yes,
on. Let's get focused on how prices are moving in the PSU basket. Let's get Aditya into the conversation. This is PFC Aditya, 3.24% higher, 508.90. After all sorts of moves by the RBI to guardrail the sector, which had come up with negativity on this space, PFC is unstoppable. What are the charts telling you?
Well, we see chart structure for both PFC or REC, both are very strong. After good consolidation, now we are seeing a fresh breakout. I mean, on Friday we saw a breakout. Today we are seeing a follow-up buying in PFC. This stock is easily moving towards 540, 550 levels. But yes, in last 2 days, stock has already moved a lot. So risk reward ratio is not very much in favorable. If you are holding the stock, you can continue to hold with a stop loss of 480. For a fresh entry, some dip should be one should wait for some dip. If it comes on 500, that's a good level to re-enter into the fresh re-enter into this put in this stock with a target of 540, 550 with a stop loss of 480.
Okay, let me also mark another stock. This is JSW Infrastructure Limited. It is a part of 3 stocks which will now be a part of the FTSE All World Index. This is the rejig that is happening. Needless to say, this is a record high, 287.50. Lots of very strong block deals are happening on this one. And what's really interesting is that in September of 2023, JSW Infra was listed at a price of 119 rupees, which was the IPO price. It had actually listed at about 143. So it was a modest IPO that had met with decent success. Aditya, 287 for you. News that it will be a part of the FTSE All World Index. What do you do here?
Well, it can be bought at current levels. Means structure-wise, quite positive. After good consolidation, again we have seen a good move last week, and we are seeing follow-up buying in this stock with increase in volume. Stock is slightly overbought, but overall structure-wise look good. I'm expecting that it may move towards 320, 325 odd levels. So at current levels, also it's not a good. It's a good buy. Means one can buy at current levels with a stop loss of 272. On higher side, 320 to 330 will be the possible targets.
Got that. Few strong buzzers at this point in time. Johnson Hitachi is up strongly in trade today. Remember, the stock has been buzzing for the last 1.5 months odd again. There is a very strong move of 10 odd percent in trade. Forgings is another one that's moving up 12% higher in trade as well. So this is where the momentum is right now. Very strong move that can be seen across the board. And of course, it's the small cap space that's taking it away in trade today. A lot of these stocks that are moving very, very sharply. Finolex Cables up 5% higher. Affle India after the earnings 4% higher. Havas Financiers about 3.5% up. IEX about 3% higher in trade. IRB Infra is up by 3%. You have CAMS that's made a comeback about 2.5% higher. JBM Auto, there is no stopping again, about a 3% up move that can be seen on this one as well. Aditya, anything that looks positive to you from the small cap basket?
Well, the stock which we discussed among those counters, there are 2 stocks which are looking quite positive. Which one first will be Avas Financials. Means if we see this stock, it is trading in a range, and now it's on the verge of giving a fresh breakout. Now on higher side, 1790, 1820 will be the target. So at current levels, also this stock can be bought. Another stock will be JBM Auto. Means if we see this last week, we have seen a good move. Again, stock is on the verge of giving a fresh breakout. I think this stock is moving towards its previous highs of 2400 levels. At current levels also, it's a good buy. Means at 2000 one can buy with a target of 2400. Stop loss will be somewhere around 1880.
Okay, got that. Well, apart from this, let's also look at some of the other counters that are moving up strongly within the pharma space. Amar, where are you keeping a keen eye out on? Today, the index is up by 0.5%. We've read out a few earnings as well. Today, apart from Divis, which we have thoroughly discussed, is Glenmark, Torrent, Mankind, all of these Natco Pharmas, the second rank pharma names. Are these of interest to you?
So I would say Torrent Pharma, you need to be slightly cautious because it clearly shows that there is profit booking happening in the stock. The other pharma space or stock to look at is I would say Cipla. So Cipla also is slightly struggling though. So till the time it doesn't take out the 1500, 15, 20, 25 zone, I would say it's more or less consolidation. So that is also is one stock one can stay away from. The other stock to look at is Biocon. Again, as I said, Biocon needs to sustain above the 325, 330 for any major rally. One stock to look at can be is Aurobindo Pharma. So Aurobindo Pharma is one stock which is very strong on various time frames. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on. The stock has breached its crucial zones of resistance that was around 1180, 1200 levels. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on. The stock has a potential to rally towards 1275, 1280 levels. On the downside, the stock has got good support coming around the 1150 levels.
Let's look at what's buzzing in the FNO space. We've already discussed PFC and REC. PFC, ladies and gentlemen, is at a record high. There is no stopping this counter. 513, 4.1% higher as far as prices are concerned. REC is now getting into its mojo, 2.5% higher at 570. These are good indications for further moves. Remember, not only are these stocks very high beta, they have come up with a fantastic performance over the last many months. So PFC is the fourth top gainer as far as FNO is concerned, and it's dominated, ladies and gentlemen, like we had mentioned in our pre-market commentary, by Pharma. Glenmark, this is something to be looked at. Aditya, coming to you, 1095, an intense bout of short covering happening there. Although the company had reported a fourth quarter loss of 1280 crores, this was on a one-time loss that has come in versus a profit in the fourth quarter last year. Glenmark's charts, what are they telling you?
Well, we see Glenmark stock had a strong support in the zone of 980,000. It found strong support around its 50 days moving average, and from those levels only we are seeing a short coming move in today's session. It has already given a breakout today, so structure-wise stock is positive. At current levels, it can be added. Slightly positional target, it will be some 1240 to 1250 levels. So at current levels also, it can be added. And if there is some profit booking, it comes in the zone of 1080 also, then one can add more. Stop loss, overall stop loss will be 1040, target will be 1240 to 1250.
Okay. Let me just mark a couple of banking counters that are now moving at a very high speed, Sakshi. I think it's really a crisis of plenty on what to mark and when to mark them, because they are very high beta and low ticket items. Let me just go over with them. Getting its mojo back is Indian Overseas Bank, 4% higher, 70. Bank of Maharashtra, 2% higher, again 70 rupees. Central Bank, 1.8% higher, 67 rupees. UCO Indian Bank, Punjab and Sind Bank, Bank of India, all in very good shape, ladies and gentlemen. Getting Amar into the conversation. Amar, you are forbidden to speak on SBI, Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda. Now tell us, in the third rung of PSU banks, which are the ones that are your favorites, one or two?
Yeah, I would say Indian Overseas Bank is definitely one can keep a close watch on, because this is one bank, I would say, which seems to be performing well, and the stock has a long way to go. So this is one bank one can look at. The other, I would say, from the PSU is Bank of Maharashtra, because again, if you look at Bank Maharashtra, it is showing some signs of consolidation, but overall the trend remains positive. So this is one stock one can look at, an appreciation of 8 to 10% from the current levels. And the second one, which I talked about, was Indian Overseas Bank.
Okay. The other space, Aditya, of course, there is no let up in the kind of rally that we are seeing in the power financing space. Both PFC and REC are continuing to show strong moves even today as well. How are you looking at the buzz underneath? Can somebody take a fresh entry even at these levels after the run up that we've seen in these stocks?
Well, yes, means in REC at current levels also long positions can be initiated. If we see PFC and REC has underperformed PFC in last couple of trading sessions. So now I think that will catch up. Stock has given a breakout today after consolidation. At current levels, it can be bought with a stop loss of 550. On higher side, 610 to 615 will be the target. So yes, we can see some easily 5 to 7% upside in REC from current levels.
Okay, got that. And the other space, Aditya, and maybe Amar, you can also give your views. I wanted to understand how are you looking at the fertilizers and the chemicals basket right now? Again, we are looking at, say, a stock like an RCF showing a strong move of 6% odd or so. Last week, there were several other stocks that were continuing to move here. As we look at monsoons approaching, how are you looking at this space?
Well, if we see fertilizer space, it's looking promising. Most of the stocks have given breakout or on the verge of giving a breakout. Like if we see National Fertilizer stock has given a breakout above 105. So in this move, I'm expecting this stock may move towards 125 to 130. So at current levels also, it's a good buy. One can buy at current levels. Similarly, we see Chambal Fertilizers. This stock is in consolidation zone. From higher levels, we saw some correction. But from 330 to 400, it consolidated. Now it's giving a fresh breakout. Again, it can move towards 440, 445. So overall, if we see fertilizer and chemical space looking positive, I think now if we see a sector churn, this will be one sector in which one can look for short-term trading opportunities.
Amar, your take?
I would say I would go with National Fertilizers Limited from the fertilizer space. Again, I would agree with the earlier speaker that this is one stock which is very strong on the long-term charts, intermediate-term trend. Also, we're seeing a breakout, and also what we've seen is that last Friday the stock witnessed significant volumes as well compared to the average over the last maybe 50 trading sessions. So that tells me that there is more in store for the stock, and the stock has a potential to rally 15 to 20% from the current levels, provided it sustains some of the 108, 110 levels.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's just talk about some other stocks. These are the usual ones that we've discussed so far in the last 20 minutes. There is a volume burst in IEX, 2.5% higher at 162.50. Absolutely no surprise if you are in North India, the kind of heat that you are seeing because of this unrelenting summer, it's amazing. Therefore, power trading is at its peak, and you see that reflecting positively on IEX, 6% higher as far as open interest is concerned, and a very strong move at IEX at 162.20. These are low beta, these are very high beta, low ticket counters. Aditya, what are the IEX charts telling you?
Shailendra, if we see IEX, this stock has done nothing for last 1.5, 2 years. It is trading in a range of 125, 130 on lower side to 160, 165 on higher side. Again, it is moving towards the higher side of the range. Now, till that time it doesn't break this range and sustains above that, we will not see a significant up move in this counter. Probably around 165, 168, the rally will fizzle out and we will again see some profit booking. But yes, if stocks breaks 168 and sustains above that, in that case, we may see a big bull move in this counter. This stock may move towards 240, 260 also. But at current levels, I will be avoiding this counter as it is moving towards its concession zone of 165, 168.
Okay, let me just mention a couple of stocks which are showing breakouts. KPIT Technologies, ladies and gentlemen, I don't remember in the last 6 months discussing it, but this is a breakout of very, very strong proportions. The price that you see was last seen on 21st of February. A very quick one on this, Amar. What do you think of KPIT? Where do you think this is headed?
I would say that I would definitely like to say that you are good at identifying very good breakouts, and this is one stock which is moving out of a consolidation zone on significant volumes, as you had earlier talked about IEX as well. So if we go back in time on 30th of April, the stock had again witnessed a breakout, but then went in for consolidation around the 1530 levels, and that was on significantly heavy volumes. So that, and if you look at the structure of the stock, that is definitely positive on the long-term charts. Intermediate-term trend, we are seeing it now moving out of a consolidation zone, and sustaining above the current levels is something which is very important. Then we could see a sharp rally of almost 8 to 10% in the stock towards its 1700 level. So this is one stock to keep under one's radar.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 3 more stocks I'll mark. I won't take technical inputs of them, but very, very strong moves. Check out RVNL. There's going to be a digit change. We'll see 400 today. A very, very strong move backed by decent volumes coming in. You'll have a very strong move on Maharashtra Bank and Tata Tech. Tata Tech is something I want to check. Remember, of the 3 stocks that will enter the FTSE All Cap All World Index, Tata Technologies is one of them. We'll stick with Amar. Amar, your view on Tata Tech. This has been a disappointment since its listing day. Is a quality set of investors about to check into this one?
Yeah, I would say that Tata Tech is one stock one can definitely keep a watch on, because the stock, as you rightly said, has been a wealth destroyer, but now that the stock is really inching up higher. So I will just give one level to watch out for the stock, and that level is somewhere around the 1130 levels. So if that is breached, but we can definitely say that the stock has formed a bottom, so the downside risk seems to be limited. So those who want to buy it and hold from a long-term perspective, maybe this could be a good low risk, high reward ratio perspective from a long-term, medium-term perspective. But sustaining over the 1130-35 zone, then you will see the stock really rally significantly higher, and reaching the 1150, then the stock would witness double-digit returns.
Okay, the one space that we have not touched thus far is the IT space, and I wanted to discuss that with both our guests. One, Amar, if you could give us a fundamental view on the overall IT space. How are you positioned, large caps versus mid caps, and is there an underlying buying trend that you're looking at?
So looking at the IT space, what we are seeing is that for the moment, the worst definitely seems to be over for the IT space, because if you look at the likes of the heavyweights like TCS or Infosys, because a lot of concerns were being raised with regard to recession in the US and cutback in the IT spending, and but there are concerns which are still there. It's not that, because the job, I would say the job creation that has come down not only in the US but in India as well. So that's a cause of concern. But overall, it seems that IT is now more or less consolidating, but I would say what we would witness is more or less stock-specific moves, and also those IT stocks or IT companies which are able to leverage more on the AI and more on the, I would say, the advanced technologies. And in that space, one stock which I have liked is Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra is definitely one stock to keep a close watch in the IT space.
Okay, what about you, Aditya? How are you looking at these mid-cap names like Coforge, Persistent, Emphasis? They're showing some upticks today. Is there a trade here?
Well, yes, means if we see whole IT space, we are not very bearish on IT space. In fact, we are somewhat bullish. Large cap counters are somewhat consolidating, but if we see mid cap IT counters, then Persistent, Coforge, Emphasis, all three of these stocks are looking good. In fact, Persistent will be our top pick from current levels among mid cap counters. I'm expecting this stock may move towards 38.50, 39.50 in next few trading sessions. So at current levels, it can be bought. Another stock will be LIT Mindtree. Means if we see L&T Mindtree, then this stock has made a good base formation in the range of 4600, 4750 levels, and now it's on the verge of giving a breakout. So I think from little bit of positional perspective, this stock may give 8 to 10% upside, and it may move towards 5350, 5400 levels. So L&T Mindtree will be another stock which can be bought at current levels with a slightly positional target of 5350, 5400.
Okay, got that. And with that, viewers, even mid-cap 100 index is now at record high levels. Several of these stocks are running away. RVNL, as already discussed, 7% higher. JSW Infra, 4% up. Paytm up by 3.5%. KPIT Technologies, Godrej Properties, Bank of Maharashtra, Jubilant Foods. These are all the stocks that are buzzing away. Ashok Leyland as well, 2.18% higher in trade. Let me get Amar's view on Ashok Leyland. You know, we've seen a lot of technical calls on Ashok Leyland build up over the last 1 week or so. The earnings came in. Citi has given a buy report with a target price that's raised to 245 odd rupees. They believe that management's demand outlook is really positive. That could be a strong re-rating candidate. How would you look at this?
Yeah, I would say that looking at the auto space definitely has been an outperformer. Be it heavy commercial vehicles or be it the or the two-wheeler auto space. So having said that, I would say Ashok Leyland is also been exceptionally performing well in terms of the finances and fundamentals. And what we see is that the stock has broken out of the zone of resistance. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on. But at the current levels, I would say rather one should wait it out and on corrections towards the 200, 180, 190, 200, I believe would be a good level to watch out for. But again, this is one stock to keep a close watch and add to one's portfolio on any correction.
Okay, 9:44, ladies and gentlemen. One stock to keep an eye out and also add to your portfolio is HDFC Bank. The reason why I mentioned this is it's the lone stock that's firing on the index and firing like how. Of the Nifty's 42 points in the green, 16 are coming from HDFC Bank, 1.1% higher. Apart from that, earnings boy Divi's Lab is firing. 7 points from that one. Bharti Airtel, Kotak Bank and TCS contributing 5 individual points each. Now with the price of 1534, ladies and gentlemen, HDFC Bank is now above the 200-day exponential moving average, which is a very, very positive development, not only for the Nifty, which has to climb above 23,200, but it's a very, very important development for Bank Nifty, which has to reclaim its all-time high. 300 points higher on the Bank Nifty, 49,273. A intraday high as far as HDFC Bank is concerned. Amar, any options trade that you would suggest on HDFC Bank?
Yeah, I would say that if one wants to look at HDFC Bank, so the next month expiry, because we are today on 27th, so next month expiry, one can look at a 1600 call option because for HDFC Bank, what I see is that I've spoken earlier also that the stock seems to have formed a strong base until and unless there's only one caveat to it, until unless we see some significant reversal in the outcome in elections from the current expectations. Markets would take it positive, but what we've also seen is that markets generally are leading beasts, so they all factors they factored in quite some time back, so we could witness some profit booking there as well. But this is one stock one should keep a close watch on. The levels to watch out for HDFC Bank is only one, that is a zone of 1550, 1560. If that is taken out, then you can say that Bank Nifty is going to rally significantly because it has almost 30% weightage in Bank Nifty, and we could see a re-rating in HDFC Bank happening as well.
Right, Amar. Viewers, let's again shift focus to Cochin Shipyard, and as promised to you, we have Gaurang Shah on the phone line with us to discuss and to decode for us the earnings and whether to see that this earnings has further increased his conviction on the stock. Warm good morning to you, Gaurang. Thank you so much for considering our request to come back. We saw 2100 also on Cochin Shipyard in trade today. Right after the earnings, the company has reported a 7-fold profit jump and has also declared a dividend as well. Do tell us what next. We did see some profits being taken off after that though.
Thanks to you, Sakshi, and morning to you as well as my good friend Shail and to all the viewers. So, the conviction doesn't die off just because the stock has gone and hit a lifetime high or because the earnings delivery is in line or better than expectation or the dividend rollout is much better. And with government companies, Sakshi, this is going to be the order of the day as we go forward in terms of dividend rollouts. And conviction is still very strong from 700 post-split to 2100. Almost 3x levels we have seen, so you can see a little bit of profit booking like we witnessed from the higher levels this morning, but that does not translate to change your view in terms of your long-term investment. We still maintain a positive stance, and just going by the order book and the commentary that the management has elaborated as far as their current execution of order book and the business as well as future optimism, my sense is that if you've invested in Cochin Shipyard from a long-term point of view, and like I mentioned, the defense stocks are the stocks which you don't sell just because they are made an all-time high. You sell only if you are in need of money. Otherwise, you can continue to hold.
ओके गौरांग, अ वेरी वॉर्म वेलकम, नमस्कार, शुभ प्रभात और आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आपको पता ही है कि हमने आपको क्यों तकलीफ दी और आप आए, इसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। वंडरफुल एडवाइस कमिंग फ्रॉम यू दैट स्टिक ऑन टू कोचिन शिपयार्ड एंड टू डिफेंस स्टॉक्स। देयर इज नो नीड टू एग्जिट इफ दे हैव मेड रिकॉर्ड हाइज, probably good days are ahead. Now that Cochin is done and dusted, and of course you have other earnings from Mazgaon, Garden Reach, HAL, BEL, all of them getting factored into prices. From now on, in the Panch Pandav sequence that you have, what would be your priority of buying?
धन्यवाद शैल जी, आपको भी सादर प्रणाम और शुभ प्रभात हमारी तरफ से। तो विकल्प यानी कि alternatives, there is this a very interesting play in terms of defense. So let me give a disclosure that on Cochin Shipyard, on Hindustan Aeronautics, on Mazgaon Docks, on Bharat Dynamics, all these companies featured in our coverage when the IPO was there. It was quite some time back, and from those levels of the IPO, we very well know what these stocks have done. So if I have to possibly rely on that recommendation of IPO for Hindustan Aeronautics, and mind you, Shell, this is also a stock which has gone split from 10 rupee face value to 5 rupee. Okay, and what I am given to understand, Shell, is that though these are not confirmed news, these are some of the gossips or talks which are going around in the market, is that and I believe Bharat Dynamics is going to go split, or already gone split today, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me. All these stocks are candidates for split from current face value they have, as well as there is a lot of noise on the street, not confirmed by the company or the government, that there can be bonuses also. So one will have to wait and watch, but minus the split and the bonus news flow, I think with the kind of order book and the future, Shell, we all know with what Raksha Kshetra ke saath hame kya umeed rakhni chahiye. Defense is going to be the priority, not only from the domestic point of view, but also from an export point of view.
Okay, with that background in mind, ladies and gentlemen, obviously these are not prices to enter because they've risen dramatically. But of course, if you are lucky enough to have any of these 5 defense stocks in your portfolio, please continue holding them. Gaurang, the last week is upon us, not only for the month of May, but also for the week that is before election results. What would you advise investors at current levels?
Don't try to be a Robin Hood. Don't commit a harakiri in case if you have got a low risk appetite. I will still repeat what I have been saying earlier in our interactions live on our TV channel BTTV, that if you are of a low risk appetite, you have profits in your pockets, in your trades from a short to medium term point of view. Don't be greedy. Take some money off the table. You don't know what the choppiness and volatility is going to throw to you. 30th of May, that is this week, Thursday, is going to be a monthly economic expiry. And then, on Saturday, the last phase of election, 1st of June, and possibly 1st of June, 6 p.m. onwards, that evening, we'll have the exit poll. Reaction of that will be on 3rd of June, which is going to be Monday. And then eventually on 4th of June, which is Tuesday, you will have the official announcement of election results by the Election Commission of India. For the love of God, I mean, if you don't trade for a week and if you take money home, sit on the sideline, it's going to be a sensible thing to do. But if you have the risk appetite, my humble advice to all those traders is that don't take short-term position on one side, either long or short. please hedge your positions so that you are not caught in a tornado. And if you really, I would still advise that from a short to medium term, please take your money, sit on the sideline, come back on 4th of June, post 12, you will have a lot of clarity on Tuesday, that is, and then possibly enter the market. Maybe you might get it 10-15% higher, and maybe if the result is not as per expectation, you might get 5-10% lower also. Share.
Brilliant advice, Gaurang. I have no words to express the amount of wisdom, practicality, and how should I say, effort that has gone into giving this crisp and clear view for the next 4 days. Thank you so much for your wonderful time. And without fail and shamelessly, we'll be bothering you again and again as far as Cochin Shipyard is concerned. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a stock that Gaurang had pointed out repeatedly from 750, 800 rupee onwards, and it has been a consistent buy, a consistent outperformer, and a consistent view that Gaurang has held. Thank you so much for your time, Gaurang. We'll come back, ladies and gentlemen. This is now 9:54. Just 6 minutes left to wrap this up. 11 points higher on the Nifty, flat as flat can be. It's the day of the Nifty Bank, 49,245. As far as prices are concerned, 267 points higher. Staying with you, Aditya, anything that catches your fancy in the market as of now? We've had about 35 minutes of trade.
Well, I think in banking space only if we see then ICICI Bank is one stock from large cap cap, which has not performed till now. It was in a consolidation zone, but now last 2 days if we see some short covering, and now we are seeing some bout of buying interest in ICICI Bank. So I think now from these levels, ICICI Bank can also participate in the market. It may move towards 1165, 1170 levels. Not a very big upside, but yes, we can easily see 3 to 4% upside in next 1 or 2 trading sessions in ICICI Bank.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll show you Tata Technologies. The PCR will fire a chart on this one. Remember, it's a buzzing because of its entry in the FTSE All Cap World Index, but there is an interesting development that has happened. Remember, this got listed last year at about 13,000 rupees. It was a blowout listing. What's happened today is that the price has moved above the 100-day exponential moving average. Now that's a big plus. This is also driven by news that has come in. Of course, there is absolutely no question mark on the quality of the stock and the quality of parentage. This is available below its IPO listing price, not IPO price. So you need to keep this in mind. What else is showing profit booking? I think SBI is down 0.2%, 828. Bank of Baroda has slipped 0.7%, 267.50. Canara Bank is down 1%, 116.10. And of course, Wipro, this is sulking, 1.9% lower, 453.90. Remember, Wipro exits the Sensex on June 24th. And incoming stock is Adani Ports. Anything, Aditya, that catches your fancy in the last couple of minutes of trade before we strike 10 a.m.?
Well, if we see last few minutes, we are seeing some signs of profit booking in the market. But see, overall structure is bullish, means we have seen a big rally last 2 trading sessions. So some profit booking from these levels is fine. But if Nifty comes in the zone of 22,900, 22,850 odd levels, these are future levels, then again, that will be a good buying opportunity. See, structure-wise, nothing much has changed in Nifty. That means any dip, if it comes at all, 100-point dip, it's a good buying opportunity. Bank Nifty still looks positive, means we are not seeing the kind of profit booking which we are seeing in overall market. We are not seeing that in Bank Nifty. So I will still remain with some of the banking counters like we discussed: IndusInd Bank, Kotak Bank, IndusInd Bank, ICICI Bank, and HDFC Bank. Another private sector bank which is looking good is Kotak Bank. Means this again, I would like to go with Kotak Bank also. It is trading at all days high level today. It may move towards 1760, 1765 levels in next 1 or 2 trading sessions. So at from current levels, risk reward ratio is clearly in favor of most of the private sector banks. So I would means if we see Kotak Bank also, it may move towards 1765, 1770 levels. At current levels, it's a good buy.
Okay, we are now at 9:57, ladies and gentlemen. The advanced decline ratio has shifted away from the bulls towards bears. 9:57 stocks are in the green compared with 1281 in the red as far as Dalal Street is concerned. Flat as flat can be the Nifty, 8 points higher. The action remains concentrated on the Nifty Bank, 0.5% higher, 242 in the green, and of course the Nifty IT index driven by mid caps, driven by Tata Technologies and similar stocks, 126 higher at 33,950. Aditya, thank you so much for your time that you've spent with us on this fine Monday morning, and of course the stock ideas and the technical charts that you shared. Here's wishing you a great session ahead, not only today but for the remaining 4 days of this wonderful May. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
With this, ladies and gentlemen, let's start wrapping up the market. We had started with a bang as far as Nifty is concerned. The high was 23,040. At the moment, it's testing 22,940. HDFC Bank has been the outstanding performer of the day, not only on the Nifty as also on the Bank Nifty. Kotak Bank is also a percent higher, 1719 within the index heavyweights. A bit of profit booking happening on Tata Motors, down about 0.7%, 953. Reliance 0.5% lower, and of course it's Infosys and HDFC Bank that are pulling the Nifty higher. Very quickly within the Nifty, I'll just mention the record highs that we've seen today. Remember, this is a time when a lot of money is moving into the last week of the not only the weekly expiry of May, but the last week before exit polls come in. Adani Ports, Bharti Airtel, Tata Steel and NTPC have hit record highs in the Nifty. In terms of volume buzzers, we have Divi's Labs 4% higher post earnings, 4321, 3.5 times 5-day volume has been done. Wipro sulking 2% lower, 453. This is about to exit the Sensex, therefore selling pressure is exacerbating. NTPC and Tata Consumer are the other two stocks that are showing smart volumes. Record highs in the FNO space. Wow. Now this is a decent list. We have 4 plus 4, 8 and 1, 9. Apart from those that have hit record highs in the Nifty, the additional ones are Torrent Pharma, 2736 post earnings, 4% higher. No stopping Power Finance. We have seen a price of 514, profit booking here, 2% lower. Bosch, RECL, Bharat Forge and BEL are the other winners here. In terms of volume buzzers, you have a strong show coming in Glenmark, Balrampur Chini, Chambal Fertilizers. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where we draw a line as far as the morning show is concerned. Remain glued to Business Today for all your needs as far as financial news are concerned. A very big thank you from my side and from our team. Thank you so much.
More than half the Lok Sabha election is over. It's the fag end of the Lok Sabha elections. And joining us today is a very special guest, Union Finance Minister